The village of Umzamo lay silent under the scorching African sun, a stark contrast to the vibrant, bustling community it once was. 5 years had passed since the birth of the last baby, and an eerie stillness settled over the land. The people of Umzamo lived in a constant state of anxiety and despair, their hopes dwindling with each passing day. In the heart of the village, a small hut stood slightly apart from the others. It belonged to a young girl named Abeni, the last child to be born in Umzamo. Abeni was different and everyone knew it. Her presence in the village was a reminder of the unexplained curse that had befallen them. The other children, though few in number, kept their distance, often mocking and bullying her for reasons she couldn't understand. Abeni was a slender girl with large, expressive eyes that seemed to hold the mysteries of the universe. Her ebony skin glowed with an otherworldly radiance, and her thick, curly hair framed her face like a halo. Despite the cruelty she faced, Abeni possessed a quiet strength and resilience that set her apart. She often found solace in the company of nature, spending her days wandering the nearby forest, listening to the whispers of the trees, and talking to the animals that seemed to understand her better than any human ever could. One particularly hot afternoon, Abeni sat by the edge of the village, her back against an ancient baobab tree. She closed her eyes, letting the gentle breeze caress her face, and drifted into a peaceful reverie. Her thoughts were interrupted by the sound of footsteps approaching. Opening her eyes, she saw a group of children from the village, led by a boy named Kofi, who was known for his mischievous nature. "Hey, witch girl," Kofi called out, a cruel smirk on his face. "What are you doing here, hiding from the rest of us? Are you planning some magic to make us all disappear?" The other children laughed, their voices tinged with fear and uncertainty. Abeni stood up slowly, her heart pounding in her chest. She had learned long ago that fighting back only made things worse. "I am not a witch," she replied calmly, her voice steady. "I am just like you, trying to understand why things are the way they are." Kofi sneered. "You're not like us. You're the reason the baby stopped coming. Everyone knows it. My mother says you're cursed and you bring bad luck." Abeni's eyes filled with tears, but she blinked them away, refusing to let them see her cry. She turned away from them, heading deeper into the forest where she felt safe. The children continued to jeer and shout after her, but she didn't look back. As she walked, Abeni's thoughts turned to her grandmother, Nana Ya, the village healer, and the only person who had ever shown her kindness. Nana Ya had always told her that she was special, destined for something great. But as the years passed, Abeni found it harder to believe those words. "Nana, why do they hate me so much?" she had asked one evening, tears streaming down her face. Nana Ya had looked at her with eyes full of wisdom and sorrow. "They fear what they do not understand, my child. You are a beacon of light in a world shrouded in darkness. One day, they will see the truth, and you will be their salvation." Abeni clung to those words, even as the village's hostility grew. She had a deep sense that she was meant for something more, something that would change the fate of Umzamo. But how could she help when everyone saw her as the enemy? That night, as the village slept, Abeni lay awake in her hut, staring at the ceiling. The stars outside seemed to call to her, their distant light filling her with a strange sense of purpose. She knew she had to do something, but what? The answer eluded her, like a shadow just beyond her reach. The next morning, Abeni rose early and made her way to Nana Ya's hut. The old woman was already awake, her hands busy grinding herbs in a mortar. "Nana, I need your guidance," Abeni said, her voice trembling with urgency. "I feel like I'm meant to do something, but I don't know what." Nana Ya looked up, her eyes piercing into Abeni's soul. "The spirits have been restless, child. They speak of a great change coming. You must listen to them, trust in your instincts, and follow the path they reveal." "But how will I know what to do?" Abeni asked, feeling a mixture of fear and determination. "You have always had a connection to the land and the spirits, more than anyone else. Trust in that connection. When the time comes, you will know what to do." Abeni nodded, though her heart still felt heavy with doubt. She spent the rest of the day in the forest, seeking solace in the embrace of nature. As the sun began to set, she found herself at the edge of a cliff overlooking the vast savanna. The sight was breathtaking, and for a moment, all her worries melted away. It was then that she heard a faint whisper carried on the wind. "Abeni! Abeni!" She turned, but there was no one there. The whisper came again, more insistent this time. "Abeni, you must go to the sacred grove. There, you will find what you seek." Abeni's heart raced. She had heard of the sacred grove, a place of ancient power and mystery. The villagers spoke of it in hushed tones, saying it was where the spirits dwelled. No one had dared to go there in years. Gathering her courage, Abeni made her way through the forest, guided by the whispering wind. The journey was long and arduous, but she pressed on, driven by a sense of destiny she couldn't ignore. As she approached the grove, a feeling of reverence washed over her. The air was thick with magic, and the trees seemed to hum with life. In the center of the grove stood a massive stone altar, covered in ancient carvings. Abeni approached it cautiously, her heart pounding in her chest. She reached out to touch the stone, and as her fingers made contact, a surge of energy coursed through her body. Visions flooded her mind, images of the village, the faces of the people she knew, and a darkness spreading across the land. She saw herself standing at the center of it all, a beacon of light pushing back the shadows. The vision was both terrifying and exhilarating. When it was over, Abeni collapsed to the ground, her body trembling with exhaustion. She lay there for what felt like hours, trying to make sense of what she had seen. Slowly, she realized that the vision had given her a purpose, a way to help her village. She knew what she had to do. The path ahead would be difficult, and she would face many challenges, but she was no longer afraid. She would be the light that dispelled the darkness, just as Nanaya had said. With renewed determination, Abeni rose to her feet and began the long journey back to Umzamo. She had a mission now, a calling that she couldn't ignore. The village needed her, and she would do whatever it took to save them. As she walked, the whispering wind seemed to cheer her on, and the stars above shone brighter than ever. Abeni knew that her journey was just beginning, and she was ready to face whatever lay ahead. Abeni's return to the village was met with the usual cold stares and whispers, but she no longer let them affect her. She carried within her the knowledge and strength she had gained from the sacred grove. As she approached her grandmother's hut, she saw Nanaya waiting for her, a knowing smile on her face. "You have found your purpose," Nanaya said, her eyes twinkling with pride. Abeni nodded. "The spirits showed me what I must do. I need to unite the village to heal the rift that has torn us apart." Nanaya placed a hand on Abeni's shoulder. "It will not be easy, child, but I believe in you. The people may resist, but your heart is pure and your intentions noble. Start by gaining their trust, one person at a time." Abeni spent the next few days observing the villagers, learning about their fears and hopes. She realized that the village's healer, Akwasi, held great influence over the people. He was a stern man, deeply respected but also feared. Abeni decided to approach him first. One morning she gathered some herbs and made her way to Akwasi's hut. She found him grinding medicinal plants, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Good morning, Akwasi," Abeni greeted, trying to sound confident. Akwasi looked up, surprise flickering in his eyes. "Abeni, what brings you here?" "I want to learn from you," she said, holding out the herbs she had collected. "I want to help the village to heal our people." Akwasi studied her for a moment before nodding. "Very well, show me what you have gathered." Abeni handed him the herbs and Akwasi examined them carefully. "These are good. You have a keen eye. Come, I will teach you." Days turned into weeks as Abeni worked alongside Akwasi, learning the art of healing. She listened to his stories and shared her own insights, slowly earning his respect. The villagers began to notice the change in Akwasi's demeanor towards her, and their attitudes towards Abeni softened. One evening, as Abeni and Akwasi were tending to a sick child, the healer spoke in a low voice. "You have a gift, Abeni. I see now that you are not cursed but blessed. The spirits have chosen you for a reason." Abeni felt a surge of gratitude. "Thank you, Akwasi. I want to use my gift to help our village, to bring back the joy we once had." Akwasi nodded. "We must work together. The village council meets tomorrow. I will speak on your behalf." The following day, the village gathered in the central square for the council meeting. Akwasi stood before them, his voice strong and authoritative. "Our village has been plagued by fear and mistrust for too long," he began. "We have blamed Abeni for our misfortunes, but I have seen her true nature. She is not a curse, but a blessing. She has a deep connection to the spirits and a desire to heal our people." The villagers murmured among themselves, uncertainty and curiosity mingling in their voices. Abeni stepped forward, her heart pounding. "I know you have been afraid," she said, her voice steady, "but we can overcome this together. We must unite and support each other. I will do everything in my power to bring back the light to Umzamo." An elderly woman named Essie, who had always been one of Abeni's harshest critics, spoke up. How can we trust you, Abini? What proof do we have that you can help us? Abini took a deep breath. I have seen a vision in the sacred grove. The spirit showed me that I must lead us in a ritual to cleanse our land and restore fertility. But I cannot do it alone. I need your trust and cooperation. Essie's expression softened. If Akwasi believes in you, then I will give you a chance. But this must work for all our sakes. With the council's reluctant approval, Abeni and Akwasi began preparing for the ritual. They gathered the necessary herbs and materials, and Abeni spent hours meditating and communing with the spirits for guidance. The villagers watched with a mixture of skepticism and hope, their eyes always on the girl they had once shunned. On the day of the ritual, the entire village assembled in a clearing near the forest. Abeni stood at the center, surrounded by a circle of elders and villagers. She raised her arms to the sky, her voice ringing out in a powerful chant that echoed through the trees. The air vibrated with energy, and the ground seemed to pulse beneath their feet. As the ritual progressed, a sense of calm and unity spread among the people. They joined in the chant, their voices blending with Abeni's in a harmonious melody. The tension that had gripped the village for years began to melt away, replaced by a renewed sense of hope. When the ritual was complete, Abeni lowered her arms, her body trembling with exhaustion. The villagers looked around, their faces alight with wonder. A soft rain began to fall, a sign of blessing and renewal. The drought that had plagued their land for so long seemed to be lifting. Isi approached Abeni, her eyes filled with tears. You have done it, Abeni. You have brought us hope. Abeni smiled, her heart swelling with gratitude. This is just the beginning. We must continue to work together to heal and rebuild our village. The villagers nodded, their hearts open to the possibility of a brighter future. Abeni had shown them the way, and they were ready to follow. As the rain continued to fall, washing away the remnants of fear and mistrust, Abeni stood at the center of her people, a beacon of light and hope. She knew there would be more challenges ahead, but for the first time in years, she felt a deep sense of belonging and purpose. The village of Umzamo had found its way back to the light, and Abeni was ready to lead them into a new dawn. The days following the ritual were filled with a sense of renewal. Villagers worked side by side, their laughter and conversations echoing through the fields as they planted new crops. Abeni's presence had become a symbol of hope, and even the harshest skeptics began to soften their stance. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over Umzamo, Abeni sat with Nana Ya outside her hut. The old woman was weaving a basket, her hands deftly moving the reeds into intricate patterns. Nana, Abeni began, the village feels different now, but I can't shake the feeling that something else is coming. The vision I had, it wasn't just about the ritual, there's more to it. Nana Ya paused, looking up at the darkening sky. The spirits speak in whispers and riddles. They show us glimpses of what may come, but rarely the full picture. Trust in your instincts, Abeni. You are the bridge between our world and theirs. As night fell, Abeni felt a familiar pull towards the forest. She bid Nana Ya good night and made her way to the edge of the village. The moon cast a silver glow on the path, illuminating her way. She felt the presence of the spirits more keenly now, their guidance like a soft hum in her mind. Deeper into the forest, she encountered an unexpected sight. An elderly man cloaked in tattered robes sat by a small fire. His eyes, though clouded with age, held a sharp intelligence. Abeni approached cautiously. "Good evening, grandfather," she greeted respectfully. "What brings you to these woods?" The old man looked up, a slow smile spreading across his face. "Ah, Abeni, I have been waiting for you. My name is Kweku. The spirits guided me here, knowing I would meet the one who carries their light." Abeni's curiosity was piqued. "What do you know of the spirits' plans, Kweku?" Kweku's gaze turned serious. "The ritual you performed was only the beginning. There is a darkness stirring, an ancient force that seeks to reclaim this land. The balance has been disturbed, and it will take great strength to restore it." Abeni listened intently, the weight of Kweku's words settling heavily on her shoulders. "How can I stop this darkness?" Kweku handed her a small, intricately carved amulet. "This talisman holds the power of protection and guidance. It will help you find the answers you seek. But remember, Abeni, true strength lies not in the talisman, but in your heart and spirit." Abeni took the amulet, feeling its warmth in her hand. "Thank you, Kweku. I will do whatever it takes to protect Umzamo." The old man nodded. "You are destined for greatness, Abeni." Trust in yourself and the spirits. They will not lead you astray. With a final nod, Abeni made her way back to the village, her mind racing with thoughts of the impending threat. She knew she needed to prepare the villagers, to unite them against the darkness that loomed on the horizon. The next morning, Abeni called a meeting in the village square. As the villagers gathered, she stood before them, the amulet clutched tightly in her hand. "People of Umzamo," she began, her voice clear and strong. "We have achieved much in the past weeks, but our work is far from over. There is a greater threat that we must face together. An ancient darkness is stirring, and we must be ready to protect our home." The villagers exchanged worried glances, but there was a newfound trust in their eyes. Abeni's words carried weight, and they were ready to listen. "We need to strengthen our defenses," Abeni continued. "We must call upon the spirits for guidance and prepare for whatever comes our way. Together we can overcome this." Akwasi stepped forward, his expression resolute. "Abeni is right. We have seen her strength and the power of the spirits through her. Let us stand united and face this challenge as one." With the support of Akwasi and the council, Abeni began to organize the villagers. They fortified the village boundaries and conducted nightly vigils to watch for any signs of the encroaching darkness. Abeni spent hours each day meditating with the amulet, seeking the spirit's wisdom. One night, as Abeni sat in deep meditation, she was visited by a vision. She saw a vast expanse of wilderness, a place untouched by human hands. In the center of this wilderness stood a towering tree, its branches reaching towards the heavens and its roots deep in the earth. She knew instinctively that this tree was the key to restoring balance. The next morning, Abeni shared her vision with Nanaya and Akwasi. "We must find this tree," she said. "It holds the power we need to banish the darkness." Akwasi nodded. "I will gather a group to accompany you. This task cannot be undertaken alone." Abeni felt a surge of gratitude. "Thank you, Akwasi. We must leave at first light." The following day, Abeni, Akwasi, and a small group of villagers set out on their quest. They moved swiftly through the forest, guided by Abeni's intuition and the spirit's whispers. The forest grew denser and more foreboding as they progressed, but Abeni's resolve never wavered. After several days of travel, they reached the heart of the wilderness. The tree from Abeni's vision stood before them, its presence both majestic and intimidating. Abeni approached it with reverence, feeling the power emanating from its ancient bark. As she touched the tree, a deep voice echoed in her mind. "You have come, child of light. The balance must be restored. Take the essence of my being and carry it back to your village." Abeni felt a surge of energy as a glowing sap flowed from the tree into her hands, forming a luminous crystal. She turned to the others, her eyes shining with determination. "We have what we need. Let's return to Umzamo and finish what we started." The journey back was fraught with challenges, but Abeni's group pressed on, driven by their shared purpose. When they finally reached the village, the sense of urgency was palpable. The darkness was closer now, its presence a tangible weight on the air. Abeni gathered the villagers once more. "We have the power to restore balance," she announced, holding up the crystal. "With this, we can banish the darkness and protect our home." As the villagers formed a protective circle around the village, Abeni stood at the center, the crystal glowing in her hands. She chanted an incantation taught to her by the spirits, the words flowing like a river of light. The crystal pulsed with energy, its light growing brighter and brighter until it enveloped the entire village. The darkness recoiled, its hold on the land weakening. Abeni felt the spirit's strength flowing through her, their voices a chorus of support. With a final, powerful surge, she released the energy of the crystal, sending a wave of light cascading over the land. The darkness dissipated, retreating into the shadows from whence it came. The villagers cheered, their hearts lifted by the victory. Abeni stood among them, her spirit soaring with the knowledge that they had overcome this great trial together. As the village of Umzamo basked in the newfound light, Abeni knew that their journey was far from over, but for now they had reclaimed their home, and the future seemed brighter than ever. In the days that followed, Umzamo flourished. The fields turned green, the river ran clear, and the air buzzed with the sound of life returning. The village worked tirelessly, repairing what had been broken and nurturing what had been reborn. Abeni's presence among them was a constant reminder of hope and resilience. One evening, as the villagers gathered around a communal fire, Abeni noticed a stranger at the edge of the gathering. His attire was that of a traveler, worn but dignified, and his eyes held a depth that suggested he had seen much of the world. "Welcome," Abeni greeted him warmly. "Join us by the fire. We are always eager to hear stories from afar." The man nodded, stepping into the circle of light. "Thank you. My name is Adeola. I have traveled far and wide, but the tales I seek tonight are those of Umzamo. I have heard of your recent triumph and wish to learn from your experiences." The villagers exchanged glances, pride evident in their expressions. Abeni gestured for Adeola to sit. "Our story is one of unity and the power of the spirits, but tell us, what brings you to our village?" Adeola's eyes flickered with a mix of curiosity and purpose. "I seek the wisdom of the ancestors. In my travels, I have learned that each place holds pieces of the past that can guide us forward. I believe Umzamo holds such wisdom." Nana Ya, seated nearby, leaned forward. "The ancestors speak to those who listen. Perhaps, Abeni, you can show Adeola the way to the sacred grove. There the voices of the past are strongest." Abeni agreed, sensing a deeper connection between Adeola's quest and her own journey. Early the next morning, they set off towards the grove. The path was familiar, yet it seemed imbued with a new energy, as if the spirits themselves were eager for this meeting. As they reached the grove, Abeni felt the presence of the ancestors more keenly than ever before. The air hummed with their whispers, and the ancient trees seemed to lean closer, listening. Adeola knelt before the stone altar, his hands pressed to the earth. "Great spirits of Umzamo, I seek your guidance. Reveal to me the truths that lie hidden." The wind picked up, swirling leaves around them in a gentle dance. Abeni closed her eyes, allowing herself to be carried by the flow of the spirit's energy. Images began to form in her mind, glimpses of the past, moments of joy and sorrow, triumph and defeat. Suddenly a vision gripped her. She saw a grand village, larger than Umzamo, with tall walls and bustling markets. At its center stood a powerful figure, a woman adorned in ceremonial garb, her eyes alight with wisdom and strength. Abeni knew instinctively that this was an ancestor of great importance. "The Queen of Xi'an," Adeola whispered, as if reading her thoughts. She was a ruler of immense power and grace. Her reign brought peace and prosperity, but her legacy has been lost to time. Abeni opened her eyes, the vision fading but its impact lingering. "The Queen's spirit is strong here. She has much to teach us." Adeola nodded, his expression contemplative. "We must honor her memory and learn from her wisdom. Perhaps her story can guide us in ways we have yet to understand." Returning to the village, Abeni and Adeola shared their experience with the elders. It was decided that a ceremony would be held to honor the Queen of Xi'an and seek her guidance. Preparations began immediately, with everyone contributing to the event. The night of the ceremony, the village gathered once more in the clearing near the sacred grove. A large fire was lit, and offerings of food, flowers, and incense were placed around the altar. Abeni, dressed in white, stood at the center, her heart filled with reverence. As the flames danced, Abeni raised her arms, calling upon the spirit of the queen. "Great Queen of Xi'an, we honor you. Share with us your wisdom. Guide us with your light." The fire blazed brighter, and a soft glow enveloped the altar. Abeni felt the queen's presence, her energy flowing through the village like a warm embrace. The villagers watched in awe as the air filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the sound of distant drums. In the midst of this sacred moment, Abeni heard the queen's voice, clear and strong. "My people, you have shown great courage and unity. Continue to walk the path of light and compassion. Remember that true strength comes from within, and the bonds you forge will carry you through the darkest times." Abeni repeated the queen's words, her voice carrying the message to every corner of the village. The villagers bowed their heads, taking in the wisdom of their ancestor. As the ceremony came to a close, the fire slowly died down, but the sense of connection and purpose remained. Abeni knew that the queen's guidance would be a beacon for Umzamo, leading them towards a future filled with hope and strength. Adeola stayed in Umzamo for several more days, sharing stories of his travels and learning from the villagers. When it was time for him to leave, he thanked Abeni and the people of Umzamo for their hospitality and the invaluable wisdom he had gained. "Your village has a special spirit," he said to Abeni. "It is a place where the past and present meet, creating a path towards a brighter future. I will carry your story with me, sharing it with others as I continue my quest." Abeni watched as Adeola disappeared into the horizon, feeling a sense of fulfillment. The village had faced many trials, but they had emerged stronger and more united. And with the guidance of their ancestors, they would continue to thrive, honoring the past while embracing the future. The dawn after Adeola's departure brought a fresh sense of purpose to Umzamo. The villagers awoke with renewed energy, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Abeni continued to lead with grace and wisdom, her connection to the spirits deepening with each passing day. One afternoon, as Abeni gathered herbs by the river, she noticed something unusual. The water, which had flowed steadily and clear, now shimmered with an iridescent glow. Intrigued, she knelt by the bank and dipped her fingers into the cool liquid. Instantly, a rush of images filled her mind. Distant lands, ancient rites, and the face of a young woman, eyes alight with knowledge. A soft voice spoke, resonating within Abeni's soul. "I am Niamekye, guardian of the river. The spirits have chosen you to restore the harmony that has been disrupted." Abeni's heart raced. "What must I do, Niamekye?" "The dance of the spirits must be performed," the voice replied. "It is an ancient ritual that renews the bond between our world and the spiritual realm. You must gather the elders and the children, for their combined energies will awaken the river's true power." That evening, Abeni called a meeting. The villagers assembled, curiosity and concern etched on their faces. She recounted her encounter with Niamekye and explained the importance of the dance. "The spirits have always been our allies," Abeni said, her voice carrying the weight of her conviction. "This ritual is vital to maintaining the balance. We must all participate, for it is our unity that gives it strength." Nana Ya, standing beside Abeni, nodded in agreement. "The dance of the spirits is a celebration of life itself. Let us honor our ancestors and embrace the gifts they have bestowed upon us." The preparations began in earnest. Drums were crafted, and traditional attire was adorned. The village buzzed with excitement and a sense of sacred duty. As the night of the dance approached, anticipation grew. Under a starlit sky, the villagers gathered by the shimmering river. The elders formed a circle, their voices lifting in ancient chants that reverberated through the air. The children, their faces painted with symbols of the spirits, joined hands with the adults, creating a living tapestry of hope and renewal. Abeni stood at the center, her heart swelling with pride and gratitude. As the drums began to beat, she felt the rhythm pulse through her veins, connecting her to the very essence of the land. She raised her arms, and the dance commenced. The movements were fluid and graceful, each step a homage to the ancestors. The villagers moved as one, their energy intertwining with the spirit of the river. Abeni's eyes closed, and she allowed herself to be guided by the rhythm, losing herself in the dance. The air grew charged with magic, and the river's glow intensified, casting a radiant light over the dancers. As the ritual reached its climax, a powerful surge of energy erupted from the water, enveloping the village in a warm, comforting embrace. When the dance finally ended, the villagers stood in awe, the air humming with a sense of fulfillment. The river's glow had subsided, leaving behind a renewed sense of peace and harmony. Abeni knew that they had succeeded in restoring the balance, but she also understood that their connection to the spirits was an ongoing relationship that required respect and reverence. In the days that followed, Umzamo thrived like never before. The fields yielded abundant crops, and the river teemed with life. The villagers continued to work together, their bond strengthened by the shared experience of the dance. Abeni found herself reflecting on the lessons she had learned. She realized that the true power of the village lay not just in their rituals or their connection to the spirits, but in their ability to come together as a community. It was their unity, their shared purpose, and their willingness to support one another that made them strong. One evening, as the sun set in a blaze of colors, Abeni stood at the edge of the village, gazing out over the land she loved. Nana Ya joined her, her wise eyes sparkling with pride. "You have done well, Abeni," Nana Ya said softly. "The spirits are pleased, and our village is thriving. Remember, the strength of Umzamo lies in its people, in their hearts and their spirits." Abeni nodded, her heart full. "I understand, Nana. We are all connected, and it is our unity that gives us the power to overcome any challenge." As the stars began to twinkle in the sky, Abeni felt a deep sense of contentment. She knew that the path ahead would not always be easy, but with the support of her people and the guidance of the spirits, Umzamo would continue to flourish. The village of Umzamo had found its rhythm once more, a dance of life that celebrated their past, embraced their present, and looked forward to a future filled with promise and possibility. The harmony that had settled over Umzamo was palpable, a soothing balm on the hearts of its inhabitants. Yet, in the midst of this newfound tranquility, a summons arrived that stirred the village once more. A group of elders from neighboring villages had requested an audience with Abeni and the council of Umzamo. The following day, as the sun cast its golden rays over the land, Abeni and the elders of Umzamo gathered in the central square. The visiting elders, adorned in garments signifying their respective villages, approached with solemn expressions. "Welcome to Umzamo," Abeni greeted them, her tone respectful yet curious. "What brings you to our village?" One of the elders, a tall man with a distinguished air, stepped forward. "I am Mosi of Mbele. We have heard of the wonders you have achieved here, Abeni. The spirits have whispered your name far and wide. We come seeking your wisdom and aid." Abeni inclined her head. "We are honored by your presence. Please tell us more." Elder Mosi exchanged glances with his companions before speaking. "Our villages have faced increasing strife, crops failing, water sources drying up, and a sense of unrest among our people. We believe that the spirits are displeased, and we seek to understand why." Abeni listened intently, feeling the weight of their words. "The spirits guide us all, and their displeasure is often a call for balance. We must learn from them and restore what has been disrupted." Nana Ya, seated nearby, nodded in agreement. "Each village has its own connection to the spirits. We must work together to uncover the root of this imbalance." The visiting elders conferred among themselves before Mosi spoke again. "We ask for your guidance, Abeni. Will you help us restore harmony to our lands?" Abeni felt the responsibility keenly. "I will do everything in my power to assist. Let us begin by visiting your villages and understanding the nature of the troubles you face." Over the next days, Abeni and the elders of Umzamo traveled to the neighboring villages. In each place they observed the land, spoke with the people, and listened to the whispers of the spirits. They discovered that the problem stemmed from a deep-seated disruption in the natural balance, a rift that required collective healing. In the village of Mbele, where Elder Mosi resided, the river that once flowed freely was now a trickle. Abeni knelt by the riverbed, feeling the dry earth between her fingers. She closed her eyes, seeking guidance from the spirits. "The river's song is faint," she murmured. "We must amplify it, bring it back to life." The villagers of Mbele gathered as Abeni explained the ritual they needed to perform. It involved an offering to the river spirits, a dance similar to the one that had restored balance in Umzamo. The people of Mbele were eager to participate, their hopes pinned on this act of unity and reverence. As night fell, the villagers assembled by the river. Abeni led the ritual, her movements graceful and assured. The elders joined in, their voices rising in ancient chants. The air buzzed with anticipation as the riverbed began to shimmer with a faint glow. The water, responding to the collective energy, began to flow more freely. The trickle grew into a stream, and then a steady flow. The villagers cheered, their spirits lifted by the sight of the revitalized river. Elder Mosi approached Abeni, gratitude etched on his face. "You have given us hope, Abeni. The spirits have heard us." Abeni smiled, feeling the connection between their actions and the natural world. "We have reminded the spirits of our respect and our place in the cycle of life. This is only the beginning. We must continue to honor them and maintain this balance." In the week that followed, Abeni and the elders of Umzamo visited each of the neighboring villages, performing similar rituals and offering guidance. The collective efforts began to bear fruit. Crops flourished, water sources were replenished, and a sense of peace returned to the lands. The bonds between the villages grew stronger, united by their shared experiences and the wisdom imparted by Abeni and her companions. The elders, once disparate in their struggles, now found strength in their unity and mutual respect. One evening, as Abeni stood by the river in Umzamo, she was joined by Nana Ya. The two watched the water flow, its surface reflecting the myriad stars above. "The spirits are pleased," Nana Ya said softly. "You have brought light and wisdom not only to Umzamo, but to all who have sought your aid." Abeni felt a profound sense of fulfillment. "We have done this together, Nana. The spirits, the elders, the people, they all play a part. Our world is interconnected, and it is our duty to honor those connections." Nana Ya placed a gentle hand on Abeni's shoulder. "The path of wisdom is a never-ending one. You have shown great courage and insight. Continue to listen, to learn, and to lead with your heart." As the river sang its soothing melody, Abini knew that their work would continue. There would always be challenges to face, lessons to learn, and spirits to honor. And with the unity and strength of her people, she felt ready to embrace whatever came next. The balance restored in the neighboring villages created a ripple of harmony that extended beyond what anyone could have anticipated. As Abeni continued to guide Umzamo and its allies, word of their successes reached distant lands. One such place was the ancient city of Kaluwara, known for its rich history and mystical secrets. One morning, a messenger arrived in Umzamo, his attire marking him as an emissary from Kaluwara. He carried a sealed scroll, its wax bearing the emblem of the ancient city. With great ceremony, he presented it to Abeni. "Honored Abini," the messenger began, "the Council of Kaluwara has heard of your deeds and seeks your presence. They believe you possess the wisdom to solve a mystery that has long troubled our city." The elders of Umzamo gathered to discuss this new request. Abeni, recognizing the importance of maintaining the connections they had forged, agreed to visit Kaluwara. She set off with a small group, including Nana Ya and Akwasi, who had become invaluable advisors and companions. The path to Kaluwara was long and winding, taking them through dense forests and across vast plains. As they approached the city, its grandeur became evident. Towers of stone rose towards the sky, and walls adorned with intricate carvings told tales of heroes and gods. The people of Kaluwara welcomed them with open arms, leading them to the council hall. Inside, the Council of Kaluwara awaited. Their leader, a wise and venerable woman named Zuberi, spoke first. "Abeni of Umzamo, we are honored by your presence. Our city is ancient, and with age comes mystery. There is a place within our walls, a chamber that none have been able to unlock. We believe it holds secrets vital to our past and future." Abeni listened carefully. "What do you know of this chamber?" Zuberi gestured to a large ancient map spread across the table. "The chamber is deep within our oldest temple. Its door is inscribed with symbols we cannot decipher. We believe only someone with a true connection to the spirits can reveal its secrets." That evening, Abeni and her companions were taken to the temple. The structure was awe-inspiring, its walls echoing with the whispers of time. As they descended into its depths, the air grew cooler, and an aura of mystery enveloped them. At the heart of the temple stood the chamber door, covered in symbols that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly light. Abeni approached, feeling the energy emanating from the carvings. She closed her eyes, allowing the spirits to guide her. In her mind's eye, she saw flashes of the past, priests conducting rituals, the construction of the temple, and the creation of the chamber. She sensed that the door required a specific invocation, a song of the ancients that had been forgotten over the ages. Opening her eyes, Abeni turned to Nanaya and Akwasi. "We need to find the ancient songs. They hold the key to unlocking this door." The Council of Kaluwara provided access to their vast library, a treasure trove of scrolls and manuscripts. For days, Abeni and her companions pored over the texts, searching for clues. Finally, they discovered a fragment of an ancient song, its verses fragmented but promising. That night, beneath the light of a full moon, Abeni stood before the chamber door. She began to sing, her voice weaving the ancient words into a melody that resonated with the stones themselves. The symbols on the door glowed brighter, responding to the call of the past. As the final note faded, a deep rumble shook the ground. The door slowly creaked open, revealing a hidden chamber filled with artifacts and scrolls. The Council of Kaluwara, along with Abeni and her companions, entered with reverence. In the center of the chamber stood a pedestal bearing an ornate jeweled box. Abeni approached, feeling the weight of history in the air. She opened the box to find an ancient manuscript, its pages detailing rituals and knowledge long forgotten. Zuberi, eyes wide with awe, turned to Abeni. "You have unlocked the secrets of our ancestors. This knowledge will guide us in preserving our heritage and ensuring our future." Abeni smiled, feeling the spirits' approval. "The spirits have blessed us with this wisdom. Use it to strengthen your bond with them and honor the legacy of Kaluwara." The days that followed were filled with celebration and gratitude. The people of Kaluwara honored Abeni and her companions, recognizing the profound impact of their connection to the spirits. The newfound knowledge revitalized the city, bringing a sense of purpose and unity. As Abeni prepared to return to Umzamo, Zuberi presented her with a gift, an intricately carved staff, a symbol of Kaluwara's gratitude and respect. "May this staff serve as a reminder of our bond and the strength we draw from our ancestors." Abeni accepted the gift with humility. Our bonds make us stronger. Together we will continue to honor the spirits and the wisdom they bestow upon us. With hearts full and spirits high, Abeni and her companions departed from Kaluwara, their connection to the ancient city now a part of their own story. They carried with them not just the physical symbols of their experiences, but the deeper understanding that unity and reverence for the past could guide them through any challenge. As they made their way back to Umzamo, the landscapes they traversed seemed more vibrant, each step filled with the echoes of the ancestors' blessings. The lessons learned and the bonds forged during their time in Kaluwara would remain a guiding light for Abeni and her people, illuminating the path ahead. Returning to Umzamo, Abeni and her companions were greeted with joyous celebration. The villagers, having heard of the achievements in Kaluwara, were eager to hear the tales and witness the wisdom that had been brought back. The carved staff, a symbol of unity and respect, was placed in the center of the village as a testament to the bond between Umzamo and Kaluwara. In the days that followed, Abeni shared the knowledge from the ancient manuscript with the villagers. They learned new rituals to honor the spirits, ways to strengthen their connection to the land, and techniques to ensure the prosperity of their community. The teachings revitalized Umzamo, filling the hearts of the people with renewed purpose. One evening, as the villagers gathered around a great bonfire, Nana Ya stood and addressed them. "We have seen the power of unity and the importance of honoring our ancestors. Abeni has shown us the way, and now it is our duty to carry this wisdom forward." The villagers cheered, their voices echoing through the night. Abeni felt a deep sense of pride and fulfillment. She knew that the journey they had undertaken had transformed not only the village but also herself. She had grown into a leader, guided by the spirits and supported by her people. As the celebration continued, a messenger arrived from a distant land. He was a young man, weary from travel but filled with determination. He approached Abeni and bowed deeply. "Great Abeni, I bring a message from the land of Nzinga. Our people face great peril and we seek your wisdom and guidance." Abeni listened intently, understanding the gravity of the situation. "Tell me more about the troubles in Nzinga," she said, her voice calm and steady. The messenger explained that Nzinga was suffering from severe drought and internal strife. The land, once fertile and prosperous, had become barren, and the people were losing hope. They had heard of Abeni's deeds and believed that only she could restore balance to their land. Nana Ya, who had been listening, nodded thoughtfully. "The spirits have chosen you, Abeni, to be a beacon of hope for many. Nzinga needs your guidance, just as Umzamo did." Abeni turned to her people, seeing their support and trust reflected in their eyes. "We will help Nzinga," she declared. "Just as we have healed our land, we will bring hope and balance to theirs." With the elders' blessing, Abeni prepared for the journey to Nzinga. She was joined by Akwasi, Nana Ya, and a group of trusted villagers who had become skilled in the ways of the spirits. Together, they set out with the same determination and unity that had guided them before. Upon arriving in Nzinga, they were met with scenes of despair. The land was dry and cracked, the crops withered, and the people weary and disheartened. Abeni immediately began to assess the situation, seeking the guidance of the spirits and the wisdom of the land. She called a meeting with the leaders of Nzinga, sharing the knowledge she had gained from Kaluwara and Umzamo. "We must perform a ritual to honor the spirits and seek their blessing," she explained. "But more importantly, we must unite as a community, supporting each other and working together to restore balance." The people of Nzinga, inspired by Abeni's words and the presence of her companions, agreed to participate. They gathered by a dried-up riverbed, once the lifeblood of their land. Abeni led them in a dance of the spirits, the ancient song resonating through the air. As they danced, the sky began to darken with clouds, and a gentle rain started to fall. The land, responding to the collective energy and the spirit's blessing, began to drink in the water. The riverbed slowly filled and the earth softened, ready to nurture new life. The people of Nzinga watched in awe and gratitude as the land began to heal. Their spirits lifted and they joined hands, realizing the power of unity and the importance of their connection to the land and the ancestors. Abeni and her companions stayed in Nzinga for several weeks, teaching the villagers the rituals and practices that had brought prosperity to Umzamo. They shared stories, wisdom, and hope, forging a bond that would last for generations. When it was time to return to Umzamo, Abeni left with a heart full of joy and pride. Nzinga was on its way to recovery, and the spirits had once again shown their favor. As they traveled back, the landscape seemed to welcome them, each step a reminder of the power of unity and the guidance of the spirits. Upon their return, the people of Umzamo welcomed them with open arms, eager to hear the tales of their success. Abeni stood before her people, feeling the strength of their bond and the wisdom of the ancestors guiding her. Today, we celebrate not just our success, but the power of unity, the importance of honoring our ancestors, and the guidance of the spirits, she said, her voice strong and filled with emotion. Together, we have achieved greatness, and together, we will continue to thrive. The villagers cheered, their voices blending into a harmonious chorus that echoed through the land. Umzamo had not only found its path, but had also become a beacon of hope and wisdom for others. With the spirit's guidance and the unity of its people, the future was bright, filled with endless possibilities and the promise of a new dawn.